Lewisham demonstration, because today is August the 12th and August the 13th, tomorrow, is the 40th anniversary of the Great Battle of Lewisham. It was a historic occasion because we told the Nazis in no uncertain terms that they would never be allowed a platform in Britain to spread their racist propaganda, and as importantly, to use democracy in order to smash democracy. And Lewisham drew a line in the sand, and I want to pay tribute to the hundreds and to the thousands of local people in Lewisham, many of the Afro-Caribbean community who turned out in their thousands together with socialists and activists to teach the Nazis a lesson from which they found it hard to recover. It's worthwhile remembering that in 1977 the Nazis had polled in the GLA elections 120,000 votes. They came third in many London constituencies, and it was on the basis of that that they announced their intention to run 320 candidates at the general election in 1979. They thought they were on a roll and that they would use Lewisham as a provocation to march through a very black and Afro-Caribbean era. They were helped in this by the most revolting operation by the Lewisham police, known, and please excuse my language, it's theirs, not mine, police nigger hunt. And this was an attempt to put in jail a whole number of black activists, out of which came the Lewisham 21. So this was a community under siege by both the Nazis and the police, and it is difficult to exaggerate how serious the situation was. And therefore the response of the community at that time and of socialists across London was absolutely critical, and that is why it is with great pride that we're holding this meeting today. It was historic, and I think without exaggeration can be compared to the historic Cable Street of 1936. The slogan at Cable Street was "Non passeran, they will not pass." That was our slogan on August the 13th, 1977. And as a result, the Nazis not only could not pass, but they collapsed at the general election, because out of this demonstration came the Great Anti-Nazi League, which mobilized tens of thousands of people up and down the country. And therefore it is a very fitting occasion today that we mark it with great pride, with great honour, and a big thanks to the Afro-Caribbean community in Lewisham that stepped up to the plate and gave the Nazis a bloody good hiding. It is also appropriate for me now to ask, let me just get the name right, Brenda Dacre, who is the Labour councillor for New Cross, to formally welcome you all into the borough of Lewisham. Brenda.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I really do want to welcome you and say thank you so much for coming to this event today. This is an historic weekend. This marks when the Battle of Lewisham happened. This marks when people came together to say no to the Nazis, no to racism. And we have to remember the reason why this is important to mark, is because unless we look back at our history, we cannot look forward so that we can learn lessons. This shows when people are united, what they can do. Back on the 13th of August 97, we came together, we stood up and we said enough is enough. There had been so much racism throughout the UK, and particularly in this area. Children were told not to go out and play, not to go out on the streets. I was one of them. I was 10 years old at the time, and my parents were fearful. But thankfully, people united, people came from all over the country, came to New Cross, which is why I'm so proud to be representing New Cross, so proud to be a resident of Lewisham, and so proud to be a councillor here. So welcome, thank you, and let's make sure that we mark this historic moment. Let's continue to do it, because it's important to teach our children so that they know and they stand up, and it shows what happens when we come together and we say no. And we can continue to do that in the face of austerity, in the face of cuts. We can continue to stand up and say no, enough is enough. But we have to do that together. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Brenda. And your remarks about the importance of black and white unity are never more important as it is today, when we're facing very similar challenges and so on. Can I now please introduce John Lockwood, who was a young teacher on the demonstration, who helped organise the demonstration here. He came from Lewisham and was sent to jail for his activities. So it's with very great pleasure that I introduce to you John Lockwood.
Okay, Paul has alluded to the fact that it was very dangerous times in the late 1970s. The fascists were growing, they were strong, and they seemed to be getting stronger by the day. Every time they marched, we organised against them, but they still grew. And then something quite astonishing happened just a few miles north of here, in Wood Green. We had for a number of years, on a number of occasions, we'd mobilised anti-fascist challenges to the Nazis, but on this occasion events took a different course. Instead of the normal process of two lines of demonstrators and counter-demonstrators abusing one another before going home, on this occasion, from out of nowhere, a group of young black boys, probably only 14 years old, appeared, grabbed shoes from the shop frontages along Wood Green High Street and threw them into the Nazi demonstration. This had never happened before, and there was some chaos. Inspired by this, a little further along, perhaps half an hour later, another ambush occurred, this time with people throwing materials liberated from a building site, and this was even more effective in its attack. There was complete disarray for 10 or 15 minutes, and at that moment in April 1977, everyone present realised that it was possible to go beyond merely challenging and protesting fascism, to go beyond disrupting it, and to actually deny them the streets in the way that the Communist Party had led the East London workers 40 years prior to that. Everybody knew that the next meeting with the Nazis would be the showdown. We didn't know where that would take place, but that decision was taken for us by Commander Randall of the Lewisham Police, who launched the campaign that Paul mentioned. He sent his officers with sledgehammers to smash down the front and back door of 21 Childeric Road, just 100 metres from here, to drag the sons of Faith and David Foster out into the street, and simultaneously to arrest another 15-20 black boys charged with all sorts of crazy legislation, conspiracy with persons unknown at places unknown to commit crimes unknown, facing life sentences. Immediately, the community rose up and built an organisation which became known as the Lewisham 21. And right here, where you're standing now, a demonstration in support of the Lewisham 21 was attacked by fascists who came from this pub, ironically enough, with bottles, bricks and ammonia. A lot of people were hurt, and when the demonstrators, when our side attempted to defend ourselves, we were arrested, and so the Lewisham 21 became the Lewisham 24. At that point, the Nazis declared that on the 13th of August, Lewisham would be where they would march, and the summer campaign would be based on Lewisham. It's